Pia from Stitches and Scraps. Welcome to Lunchtime Live. For those of you who are new here, this is basically my weekly newsletter for Stitches and Scraps. So I'm going to tell you, all the stuff that's going on at Stitches and Scraps, what's new on the blog, all of that. And then we end every week with a demo. So for today's demo, I'm going to look at yarn unders instead of yarn overs, and how that's different and where you might want to possibly use yarn unders in a couple of specific situations. But before we get to that, I want to tell you everything that's new on the blog. Every week in this video, you'll see in the description a link to a blog post. If you go to that post, all the links for all the things I'm planning to talk about in this video are in that post. So if you see something and you want to learn more, go to that post and you'll find the link to get to that specific thing. So that being said, let me show you all of the stuff that I've got this week. This is this week's new pattern. This is the Bluebird fridge magnet. It's part of the Fridgies crochet along. And I apologize for my voice. I'm having kind of a sinusy thing right now, so I might be a little off voice-wise. But this is the Bluebird fridge magnet, and this is the new pattern that came out this week. If you are participating in the Fridgies Cal, you'll recognize some of the other magnets that are over there. I've got my bear and my bunny. What else? Unicorn, another bear, because I made two of those, and a fox. So those are all the magnets from the Fridgies Cal so far. We're doing a new one every month. Be sure to enter the giveaway. I've got a different giveaway every quarter, and this quarter is Unicorn Clean. It's a sample set, so it's like, well, not sample set, but it's a 4-ounce set, so they're like bottles this big, that you get all three, the fiber wash, the scrub, and the fiber rinse, and a stuffed unicorn that's totally cute. So that's what comes in the set. Be sure to get onto that crochet along page and enter the giveaway if you haven't yet. That giveaway, I want to say, we're in the second month of the quarter now, so that giveaway I think will close sometime next month. So you still have a little bit of time, but be sure to get on there and do that. The other thing that just released this morning, I'm so excited. I've been waiting to show this to you for weeks. This is a guest post I did over on Artist Spree for a pet bandana. This is a bandana for my dog Millie. So what this product is, and I'm actually going to zoom in down here. Oh, sorry, give me a second to straighten it out here. All right, let's go here. Okay, so what this is, these are sublimation markers. If any of you are familiar with sublimation, you know that it's usually done with special printers and heat presses and all of that. The sublimation markers let you color your own design, whatever you want, onto a piece of paper and then basically iron it on. So it's like you can create your own iron-ons. It got a little light over here. I think I didn't put enough heat or pressure on it, but otherwise you can see how bright and clear it comes out. Really fun to do also, because you can go ahead and scribble all you want on a piece of paper, and then when you're ready, you just transfer it onto your blank. So it only works on, I want to say it's polyester, or maybe there's other materials or treatments, but it doesn't work on like everything. So you have to get what's called sublimation blanks. This is 100%, I just looked at the tag, this is 100% polyester fabric. So that's why it works. Other things you can make, like coasters and luggage tags and all that, they have to be treated with a polyester coating so that you can do that. Artist Spree has lots of blanks and the markers and the stamps and oh my god, so many things you can have fun with. So check out this post. I have a link to that in the, if you click on the link in the description, and you can see all the stuff that you can do. It's just so much fun. Okay, so that is, and you can see Millie wearing her bandana, but that is the Artist Spree project that I did. So that's basically what I've been up to this week. Hi Beth, it's good to see you as always. And hi Marshall, nice to see you too. I hope I said that right. Let me know if I didn't. But so that's what's new on the blog this week. So let me show you a sneak peek at what's coming up for next week, this is actually going to post on Monday, and I'm probably not allowed to show you yet, so don't tell anybody. But this is my scarf for the Scarf of the Month crochet along, and I'm going to be posting this next week. This is the summer, what did I call it now? Stepping Out Summer Scarf. So it's a lace design with a diamond motif in it. A lot of fun to make, and that is going to come out on Monday. The crochet along is run by, okay, I'm going to say this wrong, Umbaka Designs and the Stitching Mommy. So that's Amy and Rhonda, but they run this crochet along every year. I love participating in it, and they have a coordinating crochet along that is a hat of the month club crochet along, and I've got a hat for that as well that coordinates with this, but that one doesn't come out for another couple of weeks. But that scarf will be out on Monday, so keep an eye out for that. Also, oops, something happened to my live. Did I drop? Can you guys still see me? I lost my video somehow. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to keep going. Let me know if you can still see me, because I lost my video. I lost my video somehow. If you can't, I'll come back and do this again. Okay. So anyway, we're shooting blind here. Oh, good. Am I still here? Beth, you said you're still here, so I'm still here. Okay, good. Okay, so, what was I saying? Okay, so that is what's coming up next week. And, oh, you're still here. Good. Okay. All right, so now let's switch over to the demo, and I will show you about twisted yarn under stitches. So here I have just a random swatch of double crochets and single crochets. This is a swatch I used last week for something else. So I'm going to show you the difference if I do a yarn under. So let's do a couple of regular yarn over single crochets. See how the yarn is going over. I'm going to zoom in a bit. See how the yarn is going over the end of my hook and then I'm pulling through? And that's the normal way to do it, right? That is a yarn over. One more time, the yarn is over my hook, I'm pulling through. This is what a normal single crochet looks like. And I want you to pay particular attention to down here. This is the loop that you pulled up. So when you pull this up, see that loop? That is the part that becomes the post of your stitch. Okay, see how it opens up and lays like that? Okay, so now let's do a yarn under. A yarn under is exactly the opposite. You don't go over with the yarn, you go under, okay? And then you pull it through like this. Now watch what happens with this, okay? When I close it off, it's twisted. It came up in the opposite direction. Zoom in even more so you can see. That's the most I can zoom in. Here we go. It came up in the opposite direction so that when I finished the stitch, it twisted the legs. Do you see that? That's a normal one, that's a twisted one. Let's do another one of those. Actually, I'm going to rip out this row and I'm going to do all of them twisted because I want you to see a whole row. Zoom back out. Whoop, there we go. Okay, so a whole row of twisted ones. So yarn under and finish your stitch. And the reason I want to do a whole row is I want to show you how it affects your tension. The yarn under makes the post twist, right? So what that does is it makes that loop a little bit shorter. You can compensate by pulling up a taller loop, but if you're not paying attention and you're using your normal tension, this loop that you're pulling up is going to get twisted, so it's going to end up being shorter. And what that does is it makes your row a little bit tighter and a little bit shorter. Okay, if I do another row, you'll see this gap in here? There's a gap between the rows. That gap goes away with the twisted stitches. So I'm going to do another row, and that's literally just because this leg gets twisted. So why does that matter? Well, the gap is a problem in amigurumi. When you're doing amigurumi, sometimes it's hard to you know, keep the stuffing from showing through. You try to stitch with a tighter gauge. Twisted stitches can actually give you an even tighter gauge, and a lot of people like using them for amigurumi. I'm going to say they'd also be good for anytime you want a stiff fabric, because you can use it for like the sole of a slipper or something like that. Anytime where you want kind of a tighter gauge. And the thing is, it decreases the height of the stitch without decreasing the width of the stitch. This is 2 rows here, right? It's the same width as the rest of these stitches, but it's not quite as tall as these 2 rows. So this is 2 rows right here of regular single crochet. All of this from here up to here is 2 rows of regular single crochet. This is 2 rows of twisted stitches. So you have to be careful of your gauge when you do it. You may have to throw in a couple of extra rows to offset things, but especially for, you know, if you're doing your own thing or designing your own amigurumi, a twisted stitch can just give you that tighter fabric, that more dense fabric that you're looking for. And it's great anytime, you know, you want something dense. It would be good for pot holders, trivets, that kind of thing. So what happens when we try this in a double crochet? Well, a double crochet has 2 yarn overs that we have to deal with, right? There's this yarn over when we start, and then there's this yarn over when we go to pull up a loop, right? So you can change one, both, or neither of those yarn overs. This is what a normal double crochet looks like. I want to break down the parts of it for you. This part down here is the loop that we pulled up in the stitch. Okay, so when we stick our hook in the stitch, do the yarn over, that makes this part here. This part here, this diagonal line, is the yarn over that we did before we started the stitch. This is the loop when we pull it through the first 2, it becomes that, and then this is the final loop that we pull through. So let's watch that all come together. Here's the yarn over, which is going to become this diagonal line. Insert your hook, pull up a loop. Okay, this loop is going to become the base. Watch that become the base, and this become the diagonal line, right? This becomes that top part right there, and then this becomes the very top of the stitch. So that's how a normal double crochet is formed. Would it be good for a basket or a bag? Yes, Beth, it would absolutely be good for a basket or a bag. And if it's got straight sides, you don't even have to change the pattern much. You just add in a few extra rows. If you're working with shaping, you can get in trouble with the gauge being different because the ratio is different of the height to the width of the stitch. But if you're working straight, yeah, the sides of a bag, perfect. Okay, so we've gone through the parts of the regular double crochet. Let's look at twisting it in the first, in the second yarn over. Okay, so I've done the first yarn over like a normal yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook, and this time I'm going to do a yarn under when I go to pull up this loop. So you can imagine this is going to do the exact same thing as the single crochet. It's going to give us that twisted bottom, right? So there you can see the difference. This is actually, and it's weird because it has a different effect from the single crochet. This gives us a sleeker, slimmer sort of double crochet. Do you see the difference between those two? And that's because this bottom is twisted, right? Now, that is a good stitch just for decorative purposes, honestly. If you like the look of that, you can do that. And it actually, I don't think it makes the stitch taller. I feel like it makes the stitch narrower. So I feel like it leaves more space between these stitches, and that's where that twisting and compressing is happening. But that's just my impression of it. It's probably not a noticeable difference, but that is what a twisted base looks like on a double crochet. Okay, now let's look at twisting just the let's look at twisting both. Okay, I'm going to put one regular double crochet in the middle. Okay, now we're going to twist both, and this is hard to do. Twisting these upper ones is actually really hard to do. So you do, instead of the yarn over, right, you're going to do the yarn under. You're coming up from under the hook and out to the back. Now when you insert it, If you try to do a yarn over here, look at that. Your yarn under just goes away, right? So we don't want that. There's my yarn under. I'm going to do another yarn under at the base here, okay? Now we already know what happens to the bottom. It twists, so that's fine. This becomes really hard to pull through on the top. There we go. Okay, now it's become sort of a horizontal line instead of a diagonal line. Do you see that? And then we yarn over and pull through these. So what's happened here is the whole shape of the top of the stitch has changed. Instead of having this V shape that's twisted, you've got like this horizontal line and then a vertical line. It almost, to me, this looks like the back of a double crochet, right? Like I don't like the look of that as much. This looks kind of pretty, I don't mind that, but this one just bugs me. I don't like doing that at all. It's harder to make and I don't think it's any prettier, but I do like just twisting the bottom of it. So do the yarn over, then do the yarn under, and there you go, and you get that little bit of a twist at the bottom that makes it just a little more compact. Now you can also do this with taller stitches. You can twist the base of any stitch. You can twist the top yarn overs of any stitch. I just wouldn't do it. It doesn't look good on the taller stitches to me. If you like the look of it though, that's the cool part about crochet. If it works for you, do it. Just be aware of how the things you're doing are going to affect the look of your work, right? Like if you purposely want to make your stitches look twisted, make them look twisted. There's nobody to tell you this is wrong. Well, there's plenty of people who will tell you this is wrong, but just tell them to shut up. Because crochet is what you make it. Crochet is just twisting yarn around with a hook. So if you like a twisted stitch for this particular purpose, make a twisted stitch. Just know that it's going to affect your gauge, so you may need to make adjustments if you're following someone else's pattern using that stitch. And that's it. That's what I have for you with twisted stitches. Do we have any questions on how to make them, where you might use them, anything like that? I'm going to just make sure I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it. So again, all of the things I showed you, this, well, not this scarf yet because it's not posted yet, but on Monday. But the bandana project, the bluebird, the crochet along for the bluebird, all of that, the links are in the post. If you click on the link in the description of this video, you'll get to a post with all of these links. And that's all I have for you today. So I will just say happy Thursday. Have a good weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.